Hello everyone, this is Sudhanshu Sarkar, Assistant Professor, Department of Electrical Engineering, Narula Institute of Technology. Today I'm going to talk about a topic of switchgear and protection. This subject is designed for the Diploma Electrical Engineering students, 5th semester, 3rd year students. So here the lesson plan of this subject. In this lesson plan, I will cover the Unit 1, Unit 3 and Unit 4. So in Unit 3, a topic named overcurrent relay. So today I will talk on this overcurrent relay. So here my topic, today's topic of discussion is overcurrent and its causes, that why this overcurrent is coming in the system, electrical system, then creating in the system, then working principle of overcurrent relay. Number 3, I will talk about the overcurrent protection, then the type of overcurrent relays. And number 5, classification of inverse time relay, then overcurrent protection schemes, and finally application of overcurrent protection. So these are the 7 topics. So with these 7 topics, I will discuss about the different areas of overcurrent relays. So this module is specially designed for the Diploma Electrical Engineering students. So let's start talk on it. The first, let me talk about the overcurrent and its causes. So in an electrical power system, you know that electrical power system, it's a complex system. So from the generating station to the consumer end, the whole system is called the power system. So in this electrical power system, overcurrent, or you can say the other name of overcurrent is excess current. So what is the other name? It is the excess current. So the important part you have to remember, that is in electrical power system, overcurrent, you know, overcurrent is written here. So it is actually the excess current in a situation where larger than intended electric current exists through a conductor. So overcurrent is basically a very excessive current which is actually flowing through the conductor, leading to excessive generation of heat. So this, for the flow of this overcurrent, excessive heat generated inside the conductor, or if it is connected with some electrical electronics devices, so there basically the heat generates and the risk of fire or damage to the equipment. So for the increased heat, what happened, the excessive heat, it's a very risky. Sometimes there is a risk of fire, and sometimes it actually damages the equation. So overcurrent is not good for the system. So this excessive current or overcurrent is always bad for the system. So we always have to very much serious about this overcurrent or this excessive current. So the engineers needs to take some precaution, needs to take some techniques to solve the problem. Sometimes the problem may be there, but students or the engineers have to take some techniques that if overcurrent is there, so you need to solve the problem. This is most important. Otherwise, this excessive heat, for generation of overcurrent, excessive heat will generate, that heat may risk of fire, and that may be damage for the equipment. Sometimes there is a huge fire and it may burn anything. Now look, the possible causes for overcurrent includes short circuit, excessive loads, incorrect design, or a ground fault. So what are the causes this overcurrent? You have to remember this very carefully. The first one is the causes of this overcurrent. One of the causes is short circuit. I already talked on this short circuit different times in your classes also when you are in 3rd semester circuit theory or basic electrical technology subject. You go through this. So I talk about these short circuits, what is short circuit and how it happens. So possible causes of this overcurrent, one of the causes is short circuit. The second one is excessive load. Sometimes excessive load is one of the cause for this overcurrent. Excessive load means that look, you have the capacity to carry 50 kilogram, but if someone give you 80 kilogram, then what will happen? You have to carry excessive load. So in case of 50, it is 80. So suppose sometime the system has a capacity to supply power of 1 kilowatt, but disconnected with 3 kilowatts, then that means it is excessive load. Incorrect design. So design is one of the most important part for electrical engineering. So it may be electric equipment design, maybe the system design is one of the cause for this incorrect, one of the cause for this overcurrent. So incorrect design is also responsible for this excessive current and the ground fault. So ground fault has a vital role for the overcurrent. So it is natural that it may happen anytime for different reasons, the overcurrent, and so we need to take some precaution for that also. First, you have to understand what is overcurrent. So I think it is clear to all of you right now that overcurrent is nothing but a excessive current in the situation where larger than indented electric maximum current flows through the conductor that leads to the generation of excessive heat, and it's a risk of the fire and damage of the equipment. And these are the reasons: the short circuit, excessive load, incorrect design, and the ground fault. So that's all about the overcurrent and its causes. Now, let me talk about the working principle of overcurrent relay. Look, so the overcurrent relay helps us protect from the overcurrent. So this relay has a very important role for the protection purpose of the electrical system. So here, for overcurrent relay, there would be essentially a current coil. So what are the elements you will find inside the overcurrent relay? That is the current coil. When normal current flows through this coil, the magnetic effect generated by the coil is not sufficient to move the moving element of the relay. So that means inside the relay there is some moving element. So when normal current flow through the conductor, then sufficient, then if everything is normal, no excessive current is flowing through the conductor, then what happened? Then the coil is not sufficient to move the moving element of the relay. As in this condition, the restraining force is greater than deflecting force. So in this condition, what happened? The restraining force is greater than deflecting force. Fine. So when everything is normal, so this condition follow inside the relay. But when current through the coil increased, that means if it is more not normal current, if the current flow is more than the normal current, then what will happen? Then some problem will arise. That means when excessive current, that means short circuit current flow through the conductor, then what happened? Current current through the coil increased, the magnetic effect also increased, and after certain level of current, so if the current is increasing, then after the certain level of current, the deflecting force generated by the magnetic effect of the coil crosses the restraining force. Okay, so for the excessive current, this phenomenon is happening inside the relay. The deflecting force generated by the magnetic effect of the coil crosses the restraining force. Okay, as a result, the moving element starts moving to change the contact position in the relay. So in this way, actually the relay operates. So it operates when excessive current flow through the coil. Now, if you follow this figure, you will find some connection, some element is there. So look here, overcurrent relays are fed from current transformer. So this is the relay and it is feeding from the current transformer. The CT is actually representing the current transformer here. The CB means the circuit breaker. So this is the trip coil is indicating, then the relay coil, and the whole system is connected with a bus bar. Now the fault occurred in this position. It is denoted by F, fault. So these are the main equipment which are connected with the system. So overcurrent relays are fed from current transformer. Fine. So it is fed from current transformer. No problem. Whenever the current through the relay exceeds the present value, okay, exceeds the present value means it is not the normal value of the current, it is more than the normal value of the current, exceeds the preset value, okay, the relay operates and actuates the trip coil of the circuit breaker. So the relay is connecting with the circuit breaker. So what it is doing, the relay operates and actuates the trip coil of the circuit breaker. It is actuating the trip coil of the circuit breaker, isolating the fault section from the electrical system. So when it is energized, this connection will lose from the system. The circuit breaker helps to disconnect the system, disconnect the faulty system from the whole system. So in this way, the relay actually operates. So you have to remember this system, these figures. So, and it will be easier for you to understand that what is actually happening and how the relay is operating. So this is the process. The relay operates and actuates the trip coil of the circuit breaker, isolating the faulty section. So what it is doing, isolating the faulty section from the electrical system. Okay. Now move to the next slide. So here we have we are going to talk about the types of overcurrent relays. Okay, so how many types of overcurrent relays is there, and what are the types? We talk on that part also here. So depending upon time of operation, overcurrent relays are classified into three groups. So look, this is very significant word, that depending upon the time of operation, overcurrent relay classified into three groups. So what are that groups? Group 1 is instantaneous overcurrent relay, second one is definite time overcurrent relay, and third one is inverse time overcurrent relay. So these are the three types of overcurrent relays are here in this, where we can classify um, depending upon time of operation. So three types depending upon time of operation. Instantaneous overcurrent, the first one is instantaneous overcurrent relay, second one is definite time overcurrent relay, and third one is inverse time overcurrent relay. So these are the three types of relays we'll find as per the if you say it is actually depending upon the time of operation. Now let me talk about the first type, that is instantaneous overcurrent relay. So for instantaneous overcurrent relay, this relay is referred as instantaneous overcurrent relay. The relay actually, how it is operating, look, the relay operates as soon as the current coil gets higher than preset value. So when it start operating, when the relay start operating immediately, at that very moment, when the current in the coil gets higher than the preset value, that is the IP value. If it is more than the preset value, then it start operating. This is, that's why it is called instantaneous. Within a moment, within a fraction of second, it start operating. If we find that the value of the current is more than the preset value. Now there is no international time delay set. Intentional, sorry, there is no intentional time delay set. So uh, actually there is no fixed time setting. It is always an inherent time delay of the order of a few milliseconds. Fine. So it's an inherent time delay. That means you can say that for this type of instantaneous overcurrent relay, previously we don't set the current, we don't set the time. Intentional time delay is not there. there is always an inherent time delay of the order of a few milliseconds. So it is the order of a very few milliseconds. Now, attracted armature type relays shows this characteristic. So attracted armature type relays shows this characteristic. Here, if you follow this diagram, you will find that along y-axis this is time, along x-axis it is the current axis. Now, no trip if the current level is um, the left side of this IP, and it will trip if it is on the right side of the IP value. What is IP value? IP value is the preset. So it is the preset. If it is lower than the value of the current is the lower side, so it will never trip. But if it is on the right side, then it will trip. So it's the characteristic of instantaneous overcurrent relay. Now the second one is definite time overcurrent relay. So from the last one, I think you will be very much it is easier to all of you to understand that what may be the definite time overcurrent relay. I think so that you already can realize that what is actually the definite time overcurrent relay. This relay is created by applying instantaneous time delay after crossing peak of value of the current. Fine. So this part is the most important part. What is that part? That part is this relay is created by applying intentional time delay after crossing peak of value of the current. Okay, a definite time overcurrent relay can be adjusted to issue a trip output at definite amount of time after it picks up. So it is actually following the definite amount of time. Thus, so for that, what is happening? It has a time setting adjustment and pickup adjustment. So two types of adjustment is required for this type of relay operation. The first one is the time setting adjustment, and second one is the pickup adjustment. So these are the two types of adjustment we need for the definite time overcurrent relay. Now, attracted armature types relays with time element. Okay, so the first one, instantaneous, was also attracted armature type relay, but here the difference between the last one, the instantaneous and definite time overcurrent relays, for the first one it was only attracted armature time overcurrent relay, but here for this case, time element, with the time element shows these characteristics. So here the time element shows these characteristics. Yes, so that is our definite time overcurrent relay. Now, and this is the diagram. So here the value, the pickup value of the current, and this is the current definite time on the x-axis. Now, the inverse time, the third type, the inverse time overcurrent relay. In case of inverse time overcurrent relay, inverse time is a natural character of any induction time rotating device. So you have to remember this line first. Inverse time, what is this inverse time? It is a natural character of any induction type rotating device. Okay. So what is the meaning of that? You have to realize that also. It means the time of operation inversely varies with input current. So time of, for this case, inverse time of operation, the most important part, with the help of this, you could realize that what is actually this inverse time. The time of operation inversely varies with input current. That is one of the most important property of inverse time overcurrent relay. The second one is this characteristic of electromechanical induction disk relay in very suitable for overcurrent protection. Fine. So this type of inverse time overcurrent relay is suitable where the very suitable for overcurrent protection. The characteristic of electromagnetical induction disk is there. So for that reason, it is very suitable. This is very useful for the overcurrent protection. And then in this type of relay, if fault is more severe, it would be cleared more faster. So So for that reason, inverse time overcurrent relay has a great role to save the electrical system, to operate the electrical system, because it helps. If fault is more severe, it would be clear more faster. Now, this is the characteristic of inverse time overcurrent relay. Here, this is the time and current. So look the characteristic how it is operating. The next one is classification of inverse time relay. So the inverse definite minimum time overcurrent relay IDMT is subdivided by these three different parts, three different group. First one is the standard inverse, that is you can say the normal inverse. Second one is very inverse time, and third one is extremely inverse time relay. So these three types of inverse time relay you will find in our system. So first one is normal, then very inverse time, and the third one is extremely inverse time relay. These are the three types here. Now the overcurrent protection schemes. We talk about the overcurrent protection schemes, that how we can protect our system from the overcurrent. Three numbers of overcurrent relays for overcurrent and earth fault protection. Okay, so we already discussed on that. For phase-to-phase fault, the relays is in only the affected phases operate. What happened here for phase-to-phase? Look, phase-to-phase fault. You know how many types of fault is there? Among them, phase-to-phase fault is one of them. So for phase-to-phase faults, the relays in only the affected phases operate. Okay. For single line to ground fault, only the relay in the fault phases gets the fault current and operates. So for line to ground fault, what happening? Fault, only the relay in the faulty phase gets the fault current and operates. So for phase to phase relay, only the affected phase operate. For line to ground, the relay in the fault phase gets the fault current and operates. So this is the protection schemes, you can say, for the overcurrent protection schemes of the relay, overcurrent relay. Now look the next part, the desired sensitivity with earth fault relays cannot be obtained in as much as the higher current setting will have to be necessarily adopted for the overcurrent relay to avoid operation under maximum condition. So what is actually this? This is nothing but, look, the desired sensitivity and the earth fault relays cannot be obtained. So you cannot obtain in such is in as much as higher current setting will have to be necessarily adopted for the overcurrent relay to avoid operation under maximum load condition. So that is another, you can say, the property of overcurrent relay. Now the overcurrent protection scheme. This is another scheme. Look into three numbers of overcurrent relays plus one number of EF relays for overcurrent and earth fault protection. Look, for phase-to-phase faults, the relays in only the affected phases operate. So where the relay operated for this type of connection, for phase-to-phase fault, the relays in only the affected phases operate. So where the affected phase is there, for that area the relay will operate. Next, under the normal operating condition, you know that when the everything is going smoothly and it is normal operating condition, the three phase fault conditions, the current in the three phase are equal and symmetrically displaced by 120 degree. Okay, that is one of the property of the system. What is actually that 120 degree displacement means one 2, 3. This is the three phases, and the angle between these three should be 120 degrees. So under normal operating condition, this will happen under normal operating conditions. The three phases fault conditions, the current in the three phases are equal and symmetrically displaced by 120 degree. Hence the sum of these three currents is 0. No current flow through the earth fault relay. Okay, only earth fault cause currents to flow through EL relay. So this is the property. And now number 3, 2 number of overcurrent relay plus 1 number of EF earth fault relay for overcurrent and earth fault protection. If we implement this, then what will happen? If we implement this, then it will happen that this is the system. The system is connected. Look here, overcurrent protection, earth fault protection. This is the 3 lines. So the 2 overcurrent relays in R and B phases, the red phase and blue phase, overcurrent protection, R and B phases will respond to phase faults. At least one relay will operate for fault involving 2 phases. For fault involving ground, reliance is placed on earth fault relay. So this is an economical version of 3 overcurrent and 1 earth fault type of protection, as 1 overcurrent relay is saved. So that's why we can say this is very economical, this type of protection schemes, that 2 number of overcurrent relay plus 1 number of earth fault relay. Now the application of overcurrent protection. So here the overcurrent protection is used in almost all electrical equipment, such as yes, the overcurrent relay application of overcurrent protection is very important, because it's used almost all electrical equipment, such as the first one is high tension lines, second one is transformer, then the generators, then the reactors, then the capacitor bank, then the motors, then the neutral displacement relays in the capacitor bank, then breaker failure protection. So these are the sector where the overcurrent protection relay is used. So it is actually the application. The high tension line, look, again I'm repeating for you better understanding that, and second one is the transformer, then generator, then reactors. You all know about this. What is high tension line, what is transformer, what is generators, what is reactors, what are the capacitor banks, then motor. For the protection of the motor, the overcurrent relay is very important, taking roles. Then the neutral displacement relays and capacitor bank, then the breaker failure protection. So these are the sector where the application, it's a vast application. Now this is the reference of this lecture. I'm very thankful to the book of Principle of Power System by VK Mehta and Rohit Mehta, and the website which is here, and so it helps me to make this PowerPoint presentation. Now thank you everyone for watching the lecture. If you have any doubt, you can contact with me anytime. Thank you very much.